What's up guys, this is Eddie, welcome to a new video. We already did how to DPS video earlier, so if you haven't seen it yet, do check it out. Next up, tank. Now tanking might look easy from the distance, but it does require some key points which every tank should focus on. Once you have these things down, you're going to be an awesome tank in DC Universe Online. So how to tank? Let's go. Alright, so this is the most basic combat mechanic in DC Universe Online, but it's the most important as well when it comes to tanking. So you learn about countering when you first create your character. For example, block to counter the lunge, block break to counter the enemy's block, and lunge to counter enemy's block break. So 3 simple counters which are going to massively improve your tanking. So whenever you counter an enemy, you will notice that your character will start blinking blue. That means you are immune to anything for like next 5 seconds. The more you counter, the more immunity you get. The more you counter, the more your target stays on ground, meaning your target won't be doing any damage or doing special attacks, so the fight gets a little bit easier for the whole group. Now countering does take some practice, but you can easily tell when your enemy is about to initiate a counter attack. For example, if the enemy goes into block position, but you see these lines blinking around him, that means he's going to lunge next. So instead of block breaking him, you block. So you will be countering his lunge. Easy. Then when you see the enemy doing the combo, but you again see these blinking lines around him, that means he's going to block break next and just, faking the combo. So what you're going to do? Get ready to lunge. Easy to follow mechanics, but take some practice. But when you have them down, the fight will go smooth as a butter and you will 100% survive longer. So try not to fail at countering, because then you will be giving immunity to your enemy instead. That means instead of you, your enemy will be blinking blue, which means he will get immunity. So yeah, learn to counter and your tanking will 100% improve. Now this should go without saying, but learning your power set is very important. Each tank power is slightly different to each other. So for example, ice is all about shields, fire is all about self heals, rage has rage crash mechanic, earth has a pet but also aftershock mechanic, atomic is also about self heals, but you have to do combo non-stops to get your heals back. So in short, learn your power set before you jump in a raid, or more specifically elite content. So I have detailed guides on all tank powers. You just go to my channel and you can see. So the best thing you can do is to watch the video, learn the power set, go to an open world boss and practice your tanking. Like, see how long can you survive. Fix your mistakes and then go back again and survive a bit longer. And with that, you won't even realize how much you have improved in just a day or 2. For most tank powers, you only need 3 artifacts: Manacles of Force, Everyman Prototype, and Mystic Symbols of the 7. Once you have these 3 ranked to 160 or above, you are good to go. You can switch between power sets without having to rank another artifact, but that does not mean that you shouldn't try out other different setups. For example, for Rage, I like to run Celestial Refractor instead of Everyman Prototype because of extra health that it gives. Then you can also use Eye of Gemini in some situations, but honestly, just stick to Manacles, Everyman, and Mystic artifacts and you can tank anything with any tank power set. Next up, allies. Allies are now as important as artifacts, honestly, because they give you that extra oomph, Basically, they will make your tank a little bit stronger by granting you some extra stats or helping you out in combat. So for tanking as active ally, you can either use Crypto or House of Legends bot for single target damage, or you can use an AoE ally like Zoom, Death Metal Batman, or any other. This really doesn't matter what you use for active ally, as this is just to do some extra damage and help out the group. But passive allies are really important. So you're going to need Superman ally as your first passive ally. And what it does is, so whenever you will break out, you're going to shield yourself and your group mates for around 30 seconds. And this shield is a real lifesaver, I'm telling you right now. And your group mates will thank you for this. And for the second passive ally spot, you have 2 options. You can either run Lex Luthor or you can run Nubia. So I prefer Nubia because it heals you whenever you do a successful counter, and it's really helpful in stressful elite raids. But as far as Lex Luthor is concerned, Lex basically boosts your stats by 15% whenever your health drops down below 50%. So depending on your power set, pick up your second ally, but Superman is a must. Skill points. I cannot focus enough on this, but trust me, even with 200 rank artifacts and maxed out gears and allies, you're still going to need massive amount of skill points. And the more skill points you have, the stronger your tank is going to be. So alright, so each tank power set focuses on different stats. For example, ice tanking relies on shields. So to make your shield stronger, you put your skill points into dominance and restoration. Then for rage, it is basically self-heals, but rage's self-heal does not come from dominance or restoration. So you're gonna max out your health first and then go for dominance for extra stats. For fire, it's best to max out health first, then go for restoration for extra heal. So you get the idea. So skill points are important to max out these stats, and if you can get extra skill points, you can max out the secondary stats as well and get your skill points, get them to like 600, and you will see a major difference. Next up, buffs. So buffs for tanking are as important for any other role in the game. Like if a DPS can buff themselves with nitro and flex sorters, why can't us tanks buff ourselves too? So don't be shy, take the all natural sorter, get some extra health. It's not a lot, but it's worth it. You can also use nutri sorters if you're a fire tank to get some extra heals, but all natural sorter works, really good. Or if you are ice tank or earth tank, you can use bulldozer sorter for extra dominance. So basically, depending on your power, buff yourself up. And after you have done that, pop a compound omega to get your stats buffed by 5%. You can also use seasonal candies and stuff like that for extra health or dominance or restoration, but honestly, just stick with the basic buff sorters and you should be fine. Two of the most important consumables for any tank power are: 1. Chronometric emitters, and number 2. Personal dampening fields. So I mostly only use chronometric emitters. They're perfect for studying the ads, and once you have mastered your tank power, you can literally just cycle between one of the power in a loadout, which will juggle or stagger the enemies, and chronometric emitters. You keep on cycling them and the enemies can't do anything in the air for days. So get that, very helpful. Second one is personal dampening field. That is basically a low level shield, so you pop it and you will stop the incoming damage for like a second or two. Useful in situations where you are about to die, your soldier is on cooldown, or your healer is taking all the time to press the instant heal. So yeah, pop that dampening field and you should be fine for next few seconds, but emitters 100% recommended. So one thing I have noticed in many raids is that how some tanks do not understand that they are the ones that need to jump in the fight first, before any other group member. As a tank, it is your responsibility to take the fight head on. Jump in first, be ahead of the whole group, take all the damage, so all your group members can survive and help you win the fight. It is as simple as that. Now that brings me to the second point, movement mode. So the fastest movement mode in the game is super speed. Nothing can beat that. So as a tank, I highly suggest you take super speed as your movement mode so you can be ahead of everybody else in your group. Some people I know want to dress up as Superman, and Superman flies, so they take they take the flight movement. But then during raid, the whole group is in next room fighting while the tank is still slowly flying through the hallways. So I mean, it's just bad. So what you can do is, if you don't want to get rid of flight, get super speed ring, which is also called speed force ring, and it's available only during the anniversary event from the vendor. Get that, and now you don't have to switch your movement mode. Just wear the ring during raids and alerts and you will have super speed movement. But yes, as a tank, be the first one to hit the enemy and get aggro. Since we're talking about aggro, some people don't understand when we use these made up terms in the game like aggro. So if you're a tank, and especially if you are new to it, you might have heard someone shout at you, get the aggro. Well, let me explain it in the simplest way possible, because I don't like, to get into technicalities. So, alright, so take aggro as basically attention. Whenever a tank uses its power, any power in the loadout, all the enemies have your attention for around, 6 seconds. So what happens after 6 seconds? If you don't use any power, the enemies will lose your attention and go to healer or the hard hitting DPS. So what do? You make sure you press any power in your loadout after every 5 or 6 seconds. That way you will never lose aggro. Enemies will always have your attention. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I saved the best one for the last. Okay, so first of all, don't do it. Like, for real, I know it can be fun, I know it does work in regular alerts or raid, but some people take you to the next step and starts barrel tanking in elite raids or alerts and then dies and then blames the healer, and then the healer blames the tank, drama starts, and next thing you know, the whole league broke up, the healer starts to badmouth you to his other league, people starts learning about your shitty interaction, and now nobody wants to run with you because they know your name, and then you end up spending 10 bucks on your rename token, your wife gets angry because you spend money on a video game, you get divorced, your children gets affected and become a psychopath, and one of them grows up to be Jeffrey Dahmer. So in short, don't battle tank. Damn, quite a story, right? But you get the idea. So if you really want to battle tank, first get that 600 plus skill points, then max out your artifacts, get transformation card and strategist card, wear full tank gear except chest and hands, get penetrating strikes, maximum damage mod, and put on Manacle's artifact, respec as DPS, put everything in might and power, put rest in health, and spam away. Now, not every tank power is good at battle tanking, but Earth Rage and Atomic are great when it comes to battle tanking. But again, please do not battle tank in Elite Raids or alert. You will thank me later. So this is it. If you will follow these 10 points for tanking, I can guarantee you that your tanking will improve by like 200% and you're definitely gonna be the best tank in your league, if not in the game. One thing you need to remember is that, like they say, with great power comes great responsibility. So I like to say that with tanking comes great anxiety. And I'm serious, because tanking can get super stressful. I actually stopped tanking for a year because I was too stressed out because of it. So take it easy, switch between roles so you don't get burned out. You get the idea. Anyways, this is it. If you have any questions, just comment down in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. And I'll see you guys next time.